Hey everyone, this is Dr. Jason Dean with Revolution Health coming to you on a Sunday evening on Facebook Live. And for you listening out there on podcast, when this goes live, it's for you as well. And I was just thinking about it today because I had some lamb, which was fantastic. And then I'm actually going to have some venison tonight, some wild game. And me being from the Northeast, I had venison growing up and I loved it so much. So it brought up, because I hear this quite often, the infamous meat debate. Should you be eating it? Should you not be eating it? And yeah, I love meat too. So anyone on there following today, be sure to put in your comments. And also, I believe there's a poll there I put. Put your choice in for the poll. There should be 4 answers if you see that. If not, I'll check it later. But the infamous meat debate. So if any of you out there have Netflix, for example, so Netflix has some great information, some great documentaries and things on it, and more going up all the time. I have Netflix. I watch it quite often for documentaries and knowledge base and education. And there's some great documentaries on Netflix. So the first one is called The Magic Pill. Now, if you had seen earlier, I probably a couple months ago now, talked to Morley Robbins, and we talked about The Magic Pill, which is a phenomenal documentary. And they actually go back to Aborigine lands, and they find out that these Aborigine people are getting sicker and sicker due to industrialization of the food system. And if you go back far enough and talk to the population, they say that they never used to have disease until basically industrial processed foods came in. And so the documentary is phenomenal. If you haven't watched The Magic Pill, it's so good. And another part of it was the fact that they took kids who have autism, 2 kids, and they literally started reversing some of the symptomatology that the autistic kids have. They started talking better behavior, twitches one way. It's really fantastic to watch that. But it's actually based off, if anybody have heard of Weston A. Price, who was a dentist back in the early 1900s, who actually traveled around the planet and looked at all these different tribes in far off lands and found out they had no diseases and they were eating from the land, both vegetables as well as animals. So go watch The Magic Pill, because it'll wake you up to a lot of things regarding basically what we used to eat versus what the industrialized world has given us now. And then another show that I think I would love for them to watch is, I've been watching more hunting shows. I hunted when I was a kid. I'm not really a hunter now, but I've been more fascinated by wild game meats. And so there's a show, actually, not a documentary movie, but a show called Meat Eater. And it's Steve Rinella, who is a hunter, but he travels around the world, and he actually educates you on how to do it properly, how to take care of yourself, how to take care of the land, because hunters actually do that properly. And so this is where really the, I guess the at ends or odd ends come together. People get, mad at each other because you have some movies, documentaries out there which kind of don't tell you the whole truth. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, for example, Forks Over Knives is another documentary. I actually liked the documentary. I appreciated it. I understood the knowledge they were giving. But one of the things that they do, which a lot of other ones do as well, is they don't separate the meat category, which kind of drives you up a wall, to be honest with you, is they group everything into the same thing, versus you have your factory farm meats and animals, and then you have your non-factory farms, so your grass-fed, your organic, your wild game, etc. But they group them all together and they say, well, meat just causes cancer. That's not true. So real meat, non-factory farmed meat, grass-fed, grass-finished, organic, free range as they call it, does not cause cancer, and they've shown that it doesn't cause cancer. But these documentaries sometimes kind of group people in together, and they say that, well, any meat consumption is not good for you. Now, I don't want to blast away at the vegans and vegetarians, because I have a couple friends who are healthy, and I have a couple friends who are vegan vegetarians who are not healthy at all. I don't subscribe to that way of eating. I don't think it's correct. That's my own opinion. I actually have 2 friends, both vegetarians. Actually, one's a fruitarian, I believe. Now, he lives in a jungle, and he gets the highest quality stuff every single day, and he's probably one of the healthiest ones I've met, but he's in a very pristine utopian world where he's at, and he gets the highest quality from the actual plant itself. And I think that's how you do it, is you have to be in that kind of an environment. Another friend of mine who is, but he's very strict on it. He knows exactly what he has to consume. He takes supplementation. He takes good care of himself. He's also a practitioner, and if you're going to do it that way, you can totally do it, but not everyone's going to do it that way. The other documentary that came out that I'll be honest with you, I've watched a lot of documentaries, watched a lot of information, and this one I turned off. Now, I'm not opposed to education and information, but I turned this documentary off 15 minutes into the documentary, and that was called What the Health. And Brian, I can see you're talking on there. Thank you, Kathy. Hello, everyone. And I appreciate the comments. If the poll is there, please respond to the poll. I'm not seeing it on here right now, but I put it in there, so hopefully it does show up. But I turned the documentary What the Health off after 15 minutes. Now, why did I do that? Am I anti-education? Am I anti-other belief system? No. The problem was they started off the first 15 minutes plus that fat causes diabetes. And I'm sorry, that's just not accurate. We know that's not accurate. Science has proved it over and over that sugar, processed refined carbohydrates, causes diabetes. But they were telling you that fat causes diabetes. And I literally had to turn the documentary off because it's just flat out not true. And I won't give them my time because they weren't doing it as an education process. They were doing it as an agenda. And it's simply, I'm not going to watch an agenda and indoctrination of something that is not true. So I am a meat eater. I love meat. I am actually trying to go more wild meats or wild game. That's why I said tonight I'm actually having venison, which I love, and it was delicious the last time I had it. But our civilizations coming forward through time, we ate organ meats. Now, a friend of mine on YouTube, you'll find, he talks about some similar stuff in the fact that, you know, when an animal died, the first thing that was eaten was organ meats, and then the meat after that from other wild animals. But we, as human beings, we're missing organ meats, and that's why a lot of people do it with supplementation today. Now, it's actually fascinating because I've been told many times that some of the great healing techniques in the world were juicing and smoothies and plant-based systems, which is true. I will tell you the one, I guess you could say, program that claims that they were all raw and all juicing and everything else, which is actually the Gerson therapy, and I have total respect for the Gerson therapy. And they reverse diseases with this therapy, which they say is juicing and vegetables, etc. But I will tell you, I actually took the class. I took it over a weekend because I was fascinated, because I subscribe to the organ meat philosophy, that we need organ meats, we need different things to heal our own organs. So I took the class, and as I was watching, it was fantastic because all the way up to the last part was exactly what they had been saying: raw foods, plant-based, etc. And I was fine with that. But right at the end, guess what happened? They say in the classes that they then use organ supplementation to heal organs of the human body. And it was actually kind of I guess an acknowledgement of what I already knew to be true, was the fact that, yeah, you can get away with, you know, good raw vegetables, plant-based everything. But at the end of the day, really the best way to heal organs of the body is organ meats. That's why I use them in practice to help people. And so I just wanted to bring that to you because there's such this debate constantly about, you know, is it organ meats? Is it meat? Should we be eating meat? Should we not be eating meat? You can eat whatever you want. There is no ideal, perfect diet, okay? You have your paleo and keto now. And I will say, I admit, I believe that keto is probably the most ideal diet with paleo right next to it. But we know for sure that we can't live off of processed refined sugars because they cause disease. Right behind it is grains. And I'm going to do another video on grains very soon, a little eye-opening material on that. But I hope this helped you, because we can't continue grouping all meat together as one thing. There's factory farm processed meat, which is disease causing. Then there's your grass-fed, free-range, wild game that actually will help the body heal, as well as organ meats that you're not necessarily going to get from your store anymore, but you can do it through whole food supplementation. So I hope that helps. Again, go watch The Magic Pill and Meat Eater and different things like that on Netflix and other documentaries, because they are important to gain knowledge and they are good information. And it's a way to get our civilization back to true healthcare. So this is Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Health, signing off from Palmer Natural Health as well, practitioner. You guys go subscribe to the podcast, the Facebook page, etc. And I hope to see you guys very soon and continue healing and take good care of yourselves. Happy Sunday, everybody. Bye-bye.